What's up, world? This is Buie. This is the official short-term car rental mastery. You already know I'm gonna give y'all a crazy amount of the tools, tips, and tricks that I've used in order to get to where I am in this business. Bulk of knowledge, bulk of wealth, bulk of wins and losses, great relationships built, some relationships burnt. You never know how it goes, but this is the honest truth. This is why I'm doing it this way, because a lot of people, they talk about, short-term rentals, or they get into this business and why they started, how they started, what they're doing it for, and a lot of things register with you and a lot of things don't register with you, So I said by the end of 2023, I was going to drop this course because I always had a lot of people asking me how I got into this business or why I got into this business, and this is just my turn to share some things with y'all. So of course, I got a quick blueprint of all the things that we're going to talk about, as you already watched in the previous video. But before we even get into that, I want to give y'all some background information about me, because you may say, well, who is Bernard Buie? Why am I going to watch his videos, or why am I going to believe in his course, or why am I going to be a part of his mastery, or why I'm going to come see him speak, or why I'm going to buy one of his books about his life? Who is he? This is where I'm going to share some things about, about me. So therefore, you get a quick background of, where I come from. Born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Went to high school, Northeast. Played basketball. Moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 2008 to attend American Intercontinental University, where I got an associate's degree in business administration. Loved college, loved everything about it. It's one of the best decisions I made in my life. Got to learn a lot about entrepreneurship, got to learn a lot about the fashion industry from an industry perspective, because I got to see and be a part of a lot of different fashion shows, where I started my first brand, Bernard Buie, in which when I was 20, I opened up my first boutique in Atlanta, Georgia, down by the Underground Mall, called Upper Level Boutique, where it was a barbershop, and it was a clothing store, and it was more of a music studio in the back. It was all in one, but I controlled the boutique of it, to where I sold a lot of men's clothing, a lot of men's accessories, some women accessories, but my main focus was men, because when I attended college, a lot of people that were in school for fashion design wanted to make women's clothing, or a lot of the teachers were pushing students on making women's clothing, and there wasn't a lot of men designers while I was in school. So that was my opportunity in my niche market to grow and where I wanted to be. Plus, I wanted to make clothes for myself and get fly all the time. So fast forward, I've completed over 4,000 hours of community service all throughout the United States, from disaster relief work to helping kids infected or affected by AIDS and HIV. Been a youth advocate for helping teens chase their dreams and do what they wanted to do. Currently, we have a nonprofit organization called I Did It Without an Album. That's where we teach kids all about doing what they want to do without being caught in the stigma of something that they have to do, i.e. being a music artist, or being in sports, or being in just entertainment in general. A lot of people see me when I'm outside, I'm driving the vehicles that I am, or I'm wearing the clothes that I'm wearing, or I'm on the stage speaking about, my accomplishments. The first thing they think about is, hey, you're a part of the entertainment industry, in which I'm not. None of my mainstream successes come from entertainment. My mainstream successes come from art, right? I've always been in the fashion industry. I've always been one in the forefront of helping people do what they want to do when it comes to chasing their dreams and using their brain in business. So that's what our nonprofit is about. So currently, I have 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, one from former President Barack Obama, and another one from our current president, Biden. I have a proclamation from the state of Delaware. I have proclamations from the White House. I have a lot of different achievements when it comes to, giving back and doing outreach and doing community service, because I am a real life humanitarian. I get up every single day and do what I want to do. And I help people do that at the same time. But a lot of times people don't know how to get there, or people need help getting from where they are in order to get to where they want to get to. So I just try to chase my dreams and help people along the way to the best that I can. in order to do that, and that's what makes me, a real life humanitarian. I don't need no camera. I don't need no social media in order for me to get up and go feed the homeless. I don't need no social media or nobody around me to go buy pizzas and give them to, the less fortunate. I don't need nobody to, to help me raise awareness about AIDS and HIV or unintended pregnancies, in these underserved neighborhoods in order for me to go and give out condoms or talk to these kids about protecting themselves at all ages. That's just who I am. When the lights is on, when the lights is off, it don't matter to me. I'm here to chase my dreams and help people further expand their mind past where they are, because, that's what the music industry did for me. That's what having mentorship did for me, having mentees and wanting to expand my mind so I can help them, or receiving a baton from an older gentleman or older woman and them giving me wisdom and knowledge, and me using that wisdom and knowledge and passing it on down to the next generation to come. Let's talk about how I got into this business. I've always been in the entertainment industry in some form or fashion when it comes to renting cars or doing photo shoots or doing video shoots or doing different events, just having fun with lifestyle things all the time. That's what I'm constantly around, from different people who get money around me or people who want to get money. Everybody talks about these things all day, every day. So why not be in the short-term rental business, was my thoughts. But of course, how do you afford to own these things in order to rent them out, in order to make money from them, right? That's always been the blueprint, which I thought you gotta own it in order to make money from it. But when I really discovered my blueprint to success, I started hanging around the people who own these types of short-term rentals, and I started being a middleman. So if I knew somebody who needed a slingshot and I knew somebody that owned one, okay, I put them together. I really didn't know how to make money from it. I was just bridging connections and making things happen as far as resources, because at the end of the day, it was a good look for me if somebody I knew who was a music artist, they needed this vehicle, and then I put them with the owner of the vehicle. Now, I got to hang out at the video shoot, or the artist called me, say I need clothing, or I need a hairstylist, I need a barber, or I need a boat, I need a jet, I need all these different things that, music artists or people in production need in order to finish their projects. So, for me, it was just about just carving my niche out one by one. When I first started, me and my business partners earlier, we started with sprinters. So nobody really knew how to get into the luxury rental car game like that as far from sprinters. So, we went and purchased a sprinter using one of our credit partners' credit. We put the deposit down. I went to pick the vehicle up, and then it was like, okay, what's next? Who are we going to rent them to? We started renting them to the private airports. So based in Atlanta, Georgia, well, everywhere there's a lot of different airports, but in Atlanta, Georgia, there's PDK Airport. That's Peachtree DeKalb Airport. Or you got Fulton County Airport. So we would just go to the airports, say, look, we got these sprinter vans. When you get high-end clients that come to the city, they need to be picked up from here and taken somewhere, or they need to go from where they're coming from and coming back to the airport. We'll pick them up. Here's our pamphlet, here's our pricing. Whatever is needed in order to make this relationship happen is what we were doing. So, we kind of grew the business just from the sprinters. And I've been through it all. Like, I rented sprinter vans, I rented every type of Mercedes, from E300 to a S580 to a Maybach to a G-Wagon. I just started growing my resources and putting out flyers and filters out there for people who have these types of vehicles. And I just started building my portfolio. I would travel to different cities, looking for owners of these types of vehicles, or looking for smaller companies like lower end rental car companies, or exotic rental car companies, or exotic car sales companies, and pitch to the owners like, hey, you got these cars sitting on your lot. I don't know if you own them, but if you do, let me rent them out. I'll bring you a qualified customer based off of your criteria, what you need, and hopefully they qualify. And if they do, I'll negotiate the numbers, the terms, and then we'll just do business. And of course, a lot of things happen inside of those relationships. Like sometimes people come up with fake IDs, or they'll come up with stolen credit cards. And early when we first started this business, we didn't know how to properly secure, these types of things like that. So a lot of things did happen. Cars got broken into, cars got stolen. Then we got smarter when it coming to using different types of insurances, making sure we put trackers in them, more cameras in them, more kill switches, all these types of things, that I'm gonna really dive into in the chapters to come. But this is my background of being through so many things. Waking up, me and my girl sleep at 2 a.m. I get a call, hey, the car got a flat, we need you to come get it. Or the car's been in a high-speed chase, we need you to come get it from impound. Navigating through all these types of different scenarios, from even sourcing the building for us to house our vehicle. What is short-term rentals? Short-term rentals for me is anything that can be rented out to a client for a short period of time. And short period of time, and time could be a couple minutes, it could be a couple hours, it could be a day, it could be 2 days, it could be 30 days, it could be 2 years, right? All of these different time frames is what short-term rentals is. So it's an item or object that can be rented out over a period of time. But for me, particularly we're going to talk about the car rental business, because that's what we're doing right now. This is the car rental mastery course, right guys? So why get into this business? You should get into this business because if you're in entertainment, or you have a vehicle, or you have clientele in other areas that may need a vehicle to be rented, or you want to make additional income to what you're already doing inside of business, or you may have a job and you may want to bring in additional income, right? This is the type of opportunity that makes a lot of sense. I mean, of course, you see a lot of people right now renting cars on other short-term rental platforms. You got Turo, you got Hire Car, Car2Go, Zipcar, right? All of these are car rental platforms that you can use in order to rent your vehicles. But you can also rent your vehicle through your own short-term rental platform, via your website or your social media. These are just all different types of ways that you can rent. But for me, when I first started, I had a Turo account, and Turo was good because it gave you a lot of different opportunity to meet different clients from all different walks of life that come in different cities or states. And then you get to see other cars that are out there, in comparison to pricing or colors or year, or different body type. All of these things help you navigate throughout why you're going to be in short-term rentals, or how much you're going to price things for. It gives you that ballpark range. But for me, when I first got into the short-term rental business, the short-term car rental business, for me, it was like, okay, if I have this vehicle, it's already paid for, and now I got somebody who may want to rent it for, let's say $100 a day. My car note may was $800. And if I rent a car out for 14 days straight, or 14 days out of a month, I just made $600 off of a car that cost me $800, and I rented it out for half of the month. So I still had half of the month to literally use my car to my advantage whenever I wanted to. Still made some money for it, and I was able to pay the note for it, right? So, if you're thinking in that mind state of having extra income from something that you already had, then this is a good opportunity for you. Or if you're a person who has a vehicle and you want to go get another vehicle, but you want one vehicle to pay for both of your vehicles, this is another opportunity for you too, right? So now that's a number game. If you got a note that's $500, you got another note that's $500, you got $1,000 plus insurance and your maintenance. So you might be all in at $1,500 for 2 vehicles under your roof, right? So now if you got 2 vehicles and you're renting your car, just use $100 a day, how much you would make. So if you rent your car out for 16 to 18 days out of a month, you just literally pay for both of your vehicles, all expenses, and still have a little change in your pocket. And now both vehicles are paying for, one vehicle is paying for both vehicles, right? That's another equation. Of course, this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn from I'm an expert or a guru or somebody that's just been through a lot within this business, somebody that's got some wisdom, who want to share with you guys, who got the game, who's still in the business full time. Of course, I'm not just talking from, I'm not making stuff up. I'm not pulling information from other people and trying to give y'all game. I'm talking straight from the knowledge and the wisdom that I have. The scars, the bumps, the bruises, the wins, the losses, all of those things that I got while I've been in this business. So stay tuned for chapter 2, Business 101, that's coming to you guys. Again, this is chapter 2, which is Business 101. And Business 101, I'm gonna give y'all all of the structures on how to establish a business, how to run a business, all the things that's needed in order to go get business funding, or go get investors, or use your own personal credit or your business credit or a partner's credit, or get a line of credit in order to start or expand your fleet. So the first couple of things in my notes, of course, is establishing a corporation. That may be an LLC, it may be a C Corp or S Corp. Why do I typically go with these things versus doing a LLC? It's just my personal preference. When I'm looking for investors and I watch Shark Tank and I listen to other people who go get funding or people who's gotten business funding, corporations are one of the best. So, but look at your own studies, do your own research, but no matter what, it has to be an LLC, a C Corp, or S Corp in order to go get business funding. Bang. So now that you got your LLC, you get your EIN. Your EIN is through the IRS website. Oh, let me back up a little bit. When you're doing your incorporation paperwork for your state, you don't have to go through LegalZoom. You don't have to go through none of those other third-party companies in order to do your articles of incorporation. You can get that directly through your state website. Some fees may vary from $100 to $150, and then it may go up from there depending on if you want to expedite it, or you want it 2-day, you want the same day, or you just want it to take as normal, 5 to 7 business days. Bang. So you got your articles of incorporation. Next, like I said, is your EIN. Your EIN is your business social security number. That's what you use in order to match your articles of incorporation number with your IRS number. Bang. So you can go directly to the IRS website. That's 100% free. You don't have to go through no other third party in order to get your EIN number. Just irs.gov, go through the proper steps in order to fill it out. You get it the same day. Bang. Got that. Now, another thing that I will go get, we're going to jump right into it, is a DUNS number. The DUNS number is something that, the acronym is DUNS, but it stands for Duns & Bradstreet. That's another business profile number that you use in order to start to build your business credit. DunsandBradstreet.com. You can go on it, see it, start building out your business trade lines, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, etc. Bang, right after you build that out, go and get you a NAV account. Your NAV account is your business report card. NAV will show what your business has been scored based off of your accounts that you're using to authorize your business or to pay account payables, accounts receivable, who's reporting to you, who you're reporting to. That's where you'll see your business report card. Now, NAV also shows your Experian business report number and your TransUnion business number as well. So when you're working that out, go through the DUNS and get your NAV number. Now, another account that I will go after is SAMS. SAMS is through the government. It's how you get government contracts in order to properly run with the government. So an example may be you want to get black car services and you want to transport people that's in the military, maybe from the airport to the military base, and they have contracts like that. Or it may be working with the government through the private sector in order to go and transport people from state parks or national parks to their hotels when they come in and out. That's another good one. And then after you do those things, get your own website. You can go through GoDaddy, they have Shopify, they have all these different platforms that you can buy your own domain name, but you must have your own domain name. www.yourcompany.com, .net, .gov, .ai, whatever it may be, but you need to have your own company website. Back. Chapter 3, market research. This chapter, I'm going to go through a lot of different things about market research, because before you spend your money, or you go spend investor money, or you go spend the bank money, you want to do some research on what type of vehicle that you want to get for your first vehicle, or expand into a different vehicle based off of seasons, based off of trends, based off of competition, all these types of things. So, of course, location is probably the biggest thing that I'm going to start off with, because depending on the location of where you're renting your vehicles should determine what type of vehicles you're going to have in your fleet, right? You can be in, hypothetically, Minnesota, and Minnesota gets a lot of snow. You're not going to make your first car a sports car, especially if it's snow out there, if it's icy. 9 times out of 10, your car is going to get crashed really quick by accident just because of the conditions in your city, right? If you're in Miami, a convertible might make the most sense, because a lot of times it's hot in Miami, so you'll get the real enjoyment and the wear and the usage out of that car on a daily basis. That's outside of location. Trends, right? Trends happen all the time. When rappers are talking about different vehicles or certain things that's going on within the market with different vehicles, you may want to either go towards it or stay away from it, right? Especially when you get into like the economy cars. When I seen people get into the economy cars, at first that was great because they was making, consistent money with the vehicle. And then a lot of people may have heard of the Kia boys. They were stealing all the economy Kia cars. They was just using, I think, like iPhone chargers or computer chargers in order to steal vehicles, right? So that was a trend, and you thought that it was a good trend. No, that's a bad trend to follow, of getting economy cars in that sense. Another trend may be a good one, to where when the new C8s, the Corvettes dropped in the game, the Stingrays, that was a good car to get, because compared to the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis, that car was only $150,000 versus $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $5,000 of the other vehicles, and it still had the same horsepower. They had nice colors. That was a good trend to follow in a good period of time, right? So, that was one of them. Like I said, I gave you a bad trend to follow. That was a good trend to follow. Depending on your budget for vehicles or your target market of who you want to appeal for or where you're going, higher end cars versus lower end cars. If you have the opportunity to get two to start your fleet off, get one high, get one low, and see what's making you the most money. Don't think because you get a higher end car, it's going to make the most money. Don't think because you get a lower end car, it's going to make you the least amount of money. I've rented out vehicles for low end, and I call them for 30 for 30, when somebody rented out a low car and they rented it out for 30 days straight. If I charge them $100 a day and they got it for 30 days, you do the math. And I've had higher rent cars to where they only rent out on the weekends. So sometimes that math will equal out. Sometimes one will surplus the other one, but just doing your own research and seeing where the market is and what you really want to do and what's most comfortable for you and your business model at that time and where you're going. Because a lot of times when people get these vehicles, you're stuck in these vehicles for a good amount of time, right? So you want to make sure that it's something that you can realistically manage right now and manage in the event that something happens to that vehicle and you got to be out of the game for a couple months in order to get an insurance check or in order to get the car to be back running if you're paying for it out of pocket. All different types of scenarios will happen when it comes to these types of cars, right? The other thing in this chapter is clients. What is your current clientele and what's your potential clientele, right? If you know that your clientele is more economy based off of where they are in life, and every once in a while they're splurge, on a mid-tier price car versus a high-end type car, get you some economy cars. If your clientele is mid-tier clientele and every once in a while they want a higher-end car, get you a mid-tier, higher-end type of car. If you know your clientele is just high-end no matter where you are in life or what they got going on, get you a higher-end car and keep your rates down, right? All these different types of people do different things at different times, right? I rented a Rolls Royce Cullinan to somebody for $3,500 a day for a good amount of time, and then they came back and then they didn't want that type of car the next time they came. They wanted something more affordable, a little Benz E300 for $200 or $300 a day versus paying 10 times that amount a day, right? So that clientele can range. Or sometimes you'll have a client who looking for an economy car because they can't go to Enterprise, they can't go to a traditional rental car company, but they're willing to pay a little more because they know they can't get those types of cars. So therefore, a mid-tier type of car that might be $150 to $250 a day versus $100 a day, right? So knowing your clientele, knowing where your clientele is or where they're going, helps you navigate what type of vehicle you want to buy when you're navigating throughout that. And then pricing, like I just mentioned, right? Knowing what the market is renting these vehicles out for, but also knowing what your clientele is willing to pay. I rented lower end vehicles sometimes for the same amount as mid-tier type vehicles because I knew that clientele could not go get that vehicle nowhere else. This is a real example of this. Is a lot of my clientele can't rent off of Turo, right? So on Turo, pricing and marketing, pricing and numbers of units on that site may be saturated, oversaturated, right? If I got an E300, you got an E300, it may be 10 or 15 in our area locally that's on Turo website. So therefore, if you were trying to rent that car for $100 a day and there's one for $80 a day and it's the same year or 1 year less, 9 times out of 10 that person is going to go with the one that's $80, unless it's the specific color that they want and they got to have that car, right? But if not, they're going to go with the car that's $80 cheaper, especially because there's taxes, there's fees, there's Turo fee, there's insurance, there's all these additional fees that they're going to have to pay in order to do that. So if somebody can save $20 or $50 a day, they're definitely going to go with it, right? But if you're in a private short-term rental area to where your clientele can't rent off of Turo, then you can afford to charge them pretty much not whatever you want, but it still should be fair because at the end of the day, they can't go in there. So if that car was realistically $100 on Turo, now you can charge $150 because that person can't go on Turo and they can't get that type of car from a normal rental car company like Avis or Budget or anything like that. You can charge them what you want. Sometimes you'll get clients who prefer not to go on those websites and they want to build a relationship with you personally or your company, right? Then they're willing to spend, I guess, a premium rate for that relationship. Sometimes you'll deliver a car to the airport and charge them up more, or sometimes you'll deliver a car wherever they are. Sometimes you'll pick the car up from them. They're willing to pay these different pricing models in order to keep that relationship with you versus going with a traditional rental car company or going with another application to where they can't rent one side of it, right? So all of those things, when you're deciding to buy a vehicle, goes into your market research. Chapter 4 of acquiring a vehicle It's so many different ways to acquire a vehicle in order to make money. I'm gonna talk from actually purchasing a vehicle all the way through not owning the vehicle, but still acquiring the vehicle and making money from it as a broker or somebody who takes over a fleet from somebody else who owns a vehicle in order to go. But we're gonna jump right into it. So acquiring a vehicle, right? When you're trying to buy a vehicle, let's just say for instance, right? You got some cash, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, anything like that in cash, right? They got buy here, pay here's to where you can go drop a good lump sum of cash on the car and then pay a low note on it from a buy here, pay here. You might go spend 5,000 on the car. Your note might be $500, $600, $700 a month. You put it right on the fleet and start renting it out. You're going to make money from it. Or you got somewhat of good credit, 600s, 700s, 800s, and you want to go and lease a vehicle or purchase a vehicle and take out a note on it. You might go put down 10,000, 15,000, zero money, depending on the type of loan that you go get with the vehicle. It's another way. Or you may have a partner who has good credit or has a large lump sum of cash, and you take them to a dealership and allow them to put the car in their name. Another way. Or you have a business that's semi-built up from your paydex score, right? We talked about this earlier with your incorporation documents, your LLC, your EIN. Go get your NAV account, go get your DUNS number, and start to build your business credit. So now your business qualifies for a vehicle, and you go to, a Bank of America. They may have a fleet loan to where they might give you 100% financing on the vehicle. You just got to put down maybe 10% on the car, right? So then you use your business credit, or you use your partner's business credit. So many different ways. Another way could be if somebody already owns a vehicle and it might be paid off and they just want to sell it, or they may want to lease it to you. You pay them, a monthly note on the vehicle, or they already have the vehicle and they can't afford to pay the note for it. So therefore you take over the note for the vehicle. So therefore you didn't have to use your credit or your personal credit or your business credit. But at the end, once that car was paid off, you got a clear title for the vehicle, right? Or you got somebody that found a car a non-traditional way. They even got it off of a credit profile number or some other sort of stuff like that a lot of people don't know about, but it's out there for you if you really tap into those types of situations and you got that type of industry to where it's out there, right? But all these are different ways in how to acquire a vehicle. You can acquire, like I said, you can acquire a vehicle from your personal credit, from your business credit, from your partner's personal credit, your partner's business credit, or taking over somebody's note, taking over somebody's lease, right? All of these are different ways in order for you to acquire a vehicle. Now, after you acquire that vehicle, it's what are you doing with that vehicle? It's really important, right? It's like, okay, I got this vehicle. Now, how do I take care of it? How do I maintain it? How do I keep up with the maintenance? Am I going to keep up with the maintenance? Sometimes when you acquire a vehicle, you may not want to keep the vehicle full time. You may want to give the vehicle back to the owner, and then you only need it when you're making money from it. Or you may want the vehicle full time because it gives you that leverage, it gives you that fleet look that you want in order to build your business, right? You could do both. I did both. I had vehicles that were with me at my building full time, and I had vehicles that wasn't with me full time. I had vehicles that I only called the owner when I needed it, and I was only gonna make money from it. And I kept vehicles from owners 100% of the time because they didn't need the vehicle and they wanted to store it at the warehouse, to where I was actually able to charge them to store the vehicle with me. That was chapter 4, acquiring the vehicle. If that was a good chapter for you, go ahead and dive right into the next chapter, which is chapter 5, security and insurance. security insurance, this is a crazy chapter. I done been through a lot. I got a lot of scars, aches, bumps and bruises of not having all these things in proper pace. So here it is. Stay tuned because I'm getting ready to drop these jewels on y'all. Chapter 5, security and insurance. Right here, I might start crying. I might start tearing up because this chapter is called expensive pain for me, because when you're talking about security within your vehicle, no matter how many alarms you have, break-ins happen. No matter if you give your car to valet, something can get stolen. No matter if you park your vehicle at the back of the parking lot, somebody could dent it, right? These are just things that's just going to happen inside of your vehicle. But nevertheless, since I've been through it already, I'm going to talk about some of the things I've been through and give y'all some pointers when it comes to properly securing your vehicle. Of course, having a tracker inside of your vehicle. So therefore, in the event that you rent it out and something happens, you know exactly where to find your vehicle, right? They have different types of trackers and kill switches that you can put inside of your vehicle all in one. I really didn't want to mention the kill switches too early, but for the sake of where we are right now, trackers and kill switches. So as soon as you go get a vehicle and you purchase it and you know that you want to start renting it out, go get you a tracker and a kill switch installed in your vehicle. They have a lot of companies now have 2-in-1s to where you don't have to have a tracker and then the kill switch. They all just come in one combination, right? So when you're using that tracker and that kill switch, it's easy for you to go find your vehicle. I'm not saying that you got to be Superman or Superwoman and somebody steal your vehicle, or your vehicle, they're not answering the phone, and then you got to go hunt your vehicle down. You ain't got to do that all the time. Sometimes you could just go through authorities, hire a security officer, or just call the cops and say, look, my vehicle was turned up here, wasn't supposed to have been here. I'm coming to confiscate my vehicle. Can you just be here safe with me while I repossess my vehicle? Some other things inside of that, right? In the event that your vehicle gets stolen, you have a tracker in it. As soon as it goes out that radius, and with the trackers and the kill switches system, when you go into the back end of it, you can set a radius for how many miles your vehicle can go outside of the circumference. Even if when you're doing your contract, you can put how many miles per day or average miles total for the duration of the rental, how much you want them to go. So sometimes I do 100 miles a day. I may do just 500 miles total for a rental. I know you can't go that far and come back within 200 to 500 miles, especially if you run around Atlanta. Or sometimes you might just ask the client, hey, do you plan on going out of town? They may say, oh, yeah, I plan on going to the casino. They might be in the next city over. Or if you're in Philly and Jersey is a hop, skip, and a jump. Or New York and Jersey, or Maryland and DC. All these different small cities to where you're right at the cusp of another city, and they're going to go over, and then they're going to go over to that city, and they're not going to go over their miles, right? So you just want to be mindful of those conversations that you're having within your clientele, and that'll help you, right? Another thing with security, break-ins happen, right? So having, maybe even having tint on your windows versus non-tint, or not having tint, so therefore somebody thinks about breaking in your vehicle, they can see clearly what's in the vehicle, and that may decrease your chances of getting the vehicle broken into. In the event that your vehicle gets stolen, let's talk about that, right? So you rented your car out, and now the renter is not picking up, and now you see your car has went off the grid, or you can't track it no more. 9 times out of 10, your vehicle has been stolen. So what do? First thing you do is you call your insurance company or call your local authority, say, hey, my vehicle has been stolen. The renter is not picking up. I know where it is, or I don't know where it is. This is the last place it's been. File your incident report, file your police report, call your insurance, let it be what it is. Unless you feel like being super cop, superwoman, superman, and tracking your vehicle down and seeing where it is, where was the last place it's at, and if you can actually go and retrieve the vehicle yourself. Always have an additional key to your car. Insurance that you can get is daily rental insurance. Like when you go to Enterprise or you've been to another traditional rental car company and they try to sell you insurance for that time that you have. So you can either buy their insurance or you can use your own insurance. The same rules apply when it comes to your business. You can sell daily rental insurance for your vehicle so the person is protected and they don't have to use their insurance in order to rent your vehicle. That's another thing that you can do. Contracts and proof of renting, right? So contracts and proof of renting. When you're doing your contract, make sure that your contract has everything spelled out. From the time they rented the vehicle, to miles, to pricing, to deposit. Make sure that you got a copy of their license. Make sure you got a copy of their insurance. Making sure they actually signed it. Having a video of them walking around the car with you, so therefore they see all of the scratches and dents. If it's something wrong with it, if it's not, making sure that you can see that, they can see that. Because if your vehicle comes back with any types of damages, you have the ability to keep or deduct money from their deposit that they gave you for your car, so therefore you can get your vehicle fixed. But if you don't take those videos and it's just he say or she say, or this didn't happen or this happened, no, you don't want to have to deal with none of that. So making sure that you got all of those things in your contract and you go through each piece with the client. So therefore when something comes back damaged or broken or misplaced, you know exactly what was in your vehicle at that time, how it looked before it went out, and therefore you can give them their money back or you can keep it and get your vehicle fixed. So that was this chapter of security insurance. We talked about trackers and kill switches and contracts. Make sure that y'all be ready for the next chapter because I'm getting ready to give it to you. All right, so we back at it. Y'all completed chapter 5, which is security and insurance. Now this is chapter 6, which is operations. In this chapter, as you already know, we're going to talk about how to operate the business properly, from team building to your management to taking pictures to photos, all different types of things that you're going to need in order to operate and run this business properly. I'm going to talk about just your documents, right? Your documents, like I mentioned in the last chapter, is so important. What are your customers signing every time they get your vehicle? Where are you storing these documents? Are you storing them in a Google Docs, or are you storing them physical copy in a file cabinet? You know, keeping track records of all of your expenses when it came to your cars that went out. Some may have needed maintenance. Your gas cards, keeping your gas receipts, right? Keeping your car washes, keeping all of these things that it costs you in order to operate the rental car. Now, outside of the rental car, keeping expense tabs of all the things it costs you in order to operate the business, right? These are all the things that go into operating your business properly. So therefore, you know at the end of your year how much money you spent or how much money you made, or if you're looking to go get investors of some sort or investments of some sort, you know how much revenue you did in order to ask for the set amount. Photos, videos. Every time a vehicle goes out, take videos before and after it comes back in. Every time a vehicle is used for advertising, make sure that you get great photos. Make sure you're very descriptive in your videos or under your photos, under the description, or when you're putting them on social media or you're putting them on these other short-term rental platforms, right? Letting the people know you just don't have rims. Tell them the size of the rim that you have. You just don't have a color. Tell them it's a maroon red, or it's burgundy red, or it's sky blue, or it's baby blue, right? Let people know if it's automatic start, or it's key, or it has a push start. Letting people know the display size. Letting people know, if the car is good for this type of driving versus this type of driving. Like being real descriptive in your detail of your operations goes a long way, because it lets your clientele know exactly what type of businessman or woman you are. It lets your team members know how to be descriptive when they're talking to your clients. And at the end of the day, it helps you stay in order, and it helps you keep on track, and it helps you grow your business far beyond the average person of getting into this type of business. Another thing when it comes to your operations, right, is identity checks, right? You'll get people who just randomly pop up and they want to rent a car. Okay, making sure that their ID is valid, making sure that it's their ID. Some people may give you an ID, it may not be them. You not even think about it because it's dark outside and you're just trying to get your money so you can keep going. No, making sure that the ID is valid. Calling their insurance, making sure that their insurance is valid and it covers your vehicle. Just because somebody has full coverage don't mean that they cover rental cars, right? And just because they have rental car coverage don't mean that they will cover the full amount in the event that your vehicle gets totaled. So if these things don't match, make sure that you call your customer, tell your customer to call their insurance and up their policy limit. It may be $100,000, your vehicle may be $120,000, something to up it to $150,000. Your policy may be $80,000, something to up it up to $100,000. These are the types of things that you got to learn or that you have to do in order to properly secure your vehicle in the event. Another thing, let's say your vehicle gets impounded, right? It's not your vehicle. You don't own it. Your partner went and got the vehicle. You need to know how to properly get your vehicle out of impound. You may need a power of attorney. You're going to need proof of registration, current registration, and you're going to need proper insurance, right? These are three things that you're going to need in order to go get that vehicle out. When you're pricing and you're scaling your business, don't be afraid to turn down business because a client don't meet your proper protocol and your operation structure that you have for a vehicle, right? You may get a client or two who don't have insurance, and depending on the type of insurance that you have, you may not be able to rent to them because they may not cover them, right? So just starting off, if your client don't have a valid license, a valid insurance, don't rent to them if you don't have the proper insurance in order to cover that vehicle in the event that that person gets into an accident, right? So we just going to start with that. Don't be afraid to turn down on money because money is going to come within your business when you have the proper systems, right? So I just wanted to start off with that. Now let's get back to basic operations. In order to properly run your rental car business, we're going to start from start and we're going to end all the way at the end. When somebody comes and first walks through your door and they try to rent your vehicle, they got to have a valid license, valid insurance. Once they have that, you checked it and you verified that everything is up to date and they can cover the rental car, okay, go ahead and do your contract. And your contract, it should have their first name, last name, date that they're renting, date when they're going to bring it back, miles when the car went out, miles that are projected when it comes back, how much the car costs per day. Make sure it has a signature. Make sure you walk all the way around the vehicle and show them any bumps or dents to the vehicle. If it's perfect, make sure they signed off on that. Make sure that you told them your rules and regulations when it comes to the vehicle as far as speed, as far as distance that can go, as far as smoking in the vehicle, as far as gas. All of these things should be included inside of your contract when they're renting out your vehicle. And once you did that, they off to the race. They got your car. They're doing their thing. Now it's time for them to bring the vehicle back. Did they sign off on the vehicle? Make sure that everything was the same way it came. Make sure that the vehicle was the same way when they got it. If it's not, make sure you mark those things off and you charge them accordingly based off of their deposit for the vehicle, right? Because this is the things that's needed in your day-to-day operations of the vehicle. Now, if the vehicle is back, let's say if the vehicle needs to go up and it's time for maintenance, okay, how are you scheduling that the person rented out the vehicle, they brought it back in good condition, mid condition, or broken? What do you do to keep the business going? How are you operating, right? We already talked about taking payments. We talked about scaling the business, right? These are things that go in your daily operation systems and management. How are you advertising the business? You're marketing the business, partners, brokers, right? You need your own CRM. In the event that you're not there to rent out that vehicle or to receive that vehicle when it comes back, your team has to understand all the policies and procedures and proper protocol from start to finish in order to rent out your vehicle and or to run a business. Because guess what? You're in this business to scale. You're not in this business to be mediocre and have one or two vehicles. You're trying to grow to make this business bigger business, and you can scale this business and go to multiple cities or multiple countries based off of your systems and how you operate this business. So if you're interested in learning that side of the business and operations and scaling, this is the chapter for you to pay most attention to. We're going to go more and more deep inside of it, so stay tuned for more. But guess what? There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about in operations, right? The biggest thing is not when it's going good, it's about when it's going bad. How do you scale the business when the business is going bad, right? And there's certain ways that you can do that based off of insurance, based off of deposits, based off of relationships that you have with the dealerships or places where you get your vehicles from. So I got those tools and tips and tricks for you guys in our one-on-one mastery. I already know that you're ready to lock into that opportunity. This is it for you. Short-term rental car mastery. All right, guys, we back at it. This is chapter 7. This is payments. This is how are you going to take payments for your rental car rental business, right? We'll start with cash. A lot of people like to bring cash, depending on the type of clientele you have. They may not have a credit card. They may not have a debit card. Or they may have both, and you want to cash as a deposit, and you want to take the payment using a payment processing system, right? Cash is always king. I don't care how many people tell you it's not. Cash is always king to me, because something can happen with that debit card or that credit card, and now you hunting them down. They dispute the charges and so forth. You got to deal with that. So taking the payment through cash is not necessarily a bad thing for you. Another form of payment that you can take is debit and credit cards, right? If you're taking a payment in the form of a debit card, that cash comes off immediately to where you can swipe using your own POS system. You may have a PayPal tap or a Square card reader or a Clover card reader to where you can swipe that card immediately and it goes into your system. In the event that you're using those types of system as a payment processor, make sure that your system is up to date, so therefore that money can come off immediately and it goes into your bank account. A lot of people get into this business and they start taking payments, and then if you have Stripe or Square or PayPal, they'll hold your payments for X amount of days, and then you got to sit and wait on that money to come through. So build up your payment processing software, so therefore the moment you take that payment, you can cash out from it. Another way that you can take payments is through your banks, right? So therefore you can take that payment directly. People use third-party processing because they have good software like Stripe or Square or PayPal, because it's easier software to use. But if you go directly to your bank, now you X out that other third-party fee that they're going to take from you. So if you have a bank, you have a business bank account, Bank of America, Navy Federal, Wells Fargo, Chase, it don't matter, right? They have their own merchant services that you can use in order to take payments from a client. So I'll just quickly recap for you. Taking cash, you can take a debit card or a credit card directly to your software, your own system, or you can use a third party like Stripe or PayPal or Square, Clover, or you can go directly to your own bank and use their payment processing system software directly, and then it goes directly into your bank account. So those are the things that you need in order to pay attention to your business when you're taking payments. Stay tuned for the next chapter. I know that was kind of quick, but it's pretty straightforward when it comes to taking payments. Making sure that you take your payments, making sure that you're giving receipts, making sure that you're showing proof that they paid or they didn't pay, and showing that they owe more money. Another thing when it comes to payments that I didn't mention is taking a deposit, right? So if you got a vehicle and they're renting a vehicle for 2 to 3 to 4 days, make sure you take a deposit, right? And you may ask, well, how much should the deposit be? Your deposit should be at least the amount of the deductible in the event that something's happened to your car. So if your deductible for your insurance is $500, make your deposit $500. If your deductible is $1,000 or $2,000, make your deposit the same amount as as your deductible, if not more. Because if in the event that your vehicle gets totaled out or something happens to it, and you got to go through your personal insurance in order to get that vehicle taken care of, you want to make sure that you have the money. There should be no reason that you got to come out your pocket in order to pay for that. So that's the one thing that you want to do with your deposit. Stay tuned for some more information. Again, this next chapter is going to be even crazier. So this is the opportunity for you to sit down, learn, take notes. And if you're interested, as I always say at the end of the next chapters and the beginning of these chapters, if you're ready to skip straight to the one-on-one, don't forget to hit me right up and let's get busy. Let's get started. My short-term rental people, we back at it. This is chapter 8. This is listing your vehicle. Previous chapter, you learned about pricing, and more chapters to come, you're going to learn about different things. But in this chapter 8, we're going to talk about listing your vehicle, right? So we're just going to get straight to it. When you're listing your vehicle, you got to be descriptive as possible. Very, very descriptive as possible. As much as detail as you can get inside of it, give it to them, because that's going to determine if a client rents or don't rent, right? If you got a SUV, let them know the rim size. Let them know how many seats is in there. Let them know how many TVs is in there. Let them know if it has stars, if it don't. Let them know if it's 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Let them know the colors. Give them all the details that's inside of the vehicle. And don't be afraid to soup the vehicle up some. You know why? Because that's going to determine if you can upsell or downsell the vehicle as well, especially if you're listing your vehicle on other platforms, right? This is going to determine if somebody rent with you for the same amount, or they rent for you for the less amount, or they go with someone else because you wasn't as descriptive as you should be, right? These are the things that's going to help you, right? At the same time of listing your vehicle, put your vehicle on other platforms. I'm going to tell you the secret why. Because it's free advertising, right? So once you got a client who's already converted on that platform, now you can convert them for the next time they rent from you privately. So therefore, if that vehicle was $150 a day, and then taxes and that other platform fees came up to all the way to $220, guess what? The next time they rent from you and they want that same vehicle, you can rent it to them for $180. Because if you rent it to them on that other platform $150, you wasn't getting that full $150, because they were going to take a piece of that cut from you. So now you can rent from them privately, right? So this is how you take your business from renting on other people's platforms to multi-listing platforms, even including private rental platforms, right? So when you're listing your vehicle, be very, very descriptive as possible. Keep your pricing exactly where it needs to be. Do your research on different types of cars that you should have for different seasons and different reasons and different meanings, right? These are things that you're going to need in order to take your business all the way to the next level. It's going to determine how you get to other vehicles. It's going to determine who else partners with you inside of these vehicles when you're having this type of business. So stay tuned for the next chapter, because it's getting ready to get more and more exciting. Marketing and sales, right? So when you're outside marketing, trying to sell your business, right, you have to market your business. There's so many different types of ways to market your business. You can do online marketing, digital marketing, print marketing, face-to-face marketing, right? These are different types of ways. So we'll start with face-to-face marketing. When you're advertising and you're trying to get somebody to either buy something or buy into something, right? It's how you're talking to them. What is your delivery? How are you delivering your message? Or are you just showing them by proof of concept, right? So if I'm marketing a vehicle, I don't got to tell you I have this vehicle if I could show you this vehicle at the same time, right? If I'm telling you that I have this Lamborghini Urus and I pull up in a Lamborghini Urus, it's easy for me to show you that you can rent this. I don't have to give you something in your mind and tell you I got it coming soon. No, it's right here, right now. Do you want this? Because if they see that type of vehicle that you have right now, when they do want it, they're going to know that you 100% have access to it, right? So that's face-to-face marketing. Digital marketing is all about how you're showing the concept of this vehicle, and you can show them that it's there, it's tangible. It may be how you're showing it. Is it the color? Is it the day? Is it the time? Is it the price? Right? All these different things go into how you're marketing this type of car. Now, once it's time to sell them the vehicle, how much are you selling it to them for? How long do they have to pay for it? Right? These are small ways of showing a client that it's something that you could believe in and they could believe into it, right? For me, it wasn't hard because I already lived that lifestyle on social media. So some people, they gotta constantly sell, 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 sell. But for us, it's just showing the lifestyle that we live. So if you already live that lifestyle when it comes to an economy vehicle, show it off. If you have luxury vehicles, show it off. If you have access to these exotics or these $100 million properties and listings and boats and jets and yachts, and you can show them that the car goes with this lifestyle, show it off, right? And then just drop a hint and say, listen, if you're interested in learning how I got into this and you want to buy this or you want to rent this, it's here for you, right? You just got to be very personable, honest. Let them know if you have it. Let them know if you don't have it. Let them know when you can get it. These are all different types of ways, right? Another thing in marketing that is very, very easy for me, that was hard for me in the beginning, is talking about what I have access to, right? Because you have access to so many different assets around the world, it's hard for you to remember everything. So when you're selling these types of things, just say, look, I have this, but if you're interested in more things, don't be afraid to ask me, because I do have more things than I'm probably talking to you about, just because I'm not trying to sell you everything, right? So showing them you have the ability to get them what they want in a short distance of time based off of the requirements that are met for that person. So if somebody call you today and they say, look, hey Bernard, I need a vehicle in Dubai. I'm gonna be there in 2 months. Can you help me find a vehicle? Yeah. Now you got some time to go out and do your research, and you can ask some specific questions, and then you can relay that to the owner of the vehicle. So they may say, look, I want a Rolls Royce. Okay, what type of Rolls Royce do you want? Is it a specific color that you want? How many days do you want it? Is it a set budget that you had? So therefore, when you go and relay that to your sales, to the person who owns the vehicle, whether it's a company or it's a person, you got enough information to give them to determine if this is the proper sell for you or if you're wasting your time. Because some things are in budget and some things may be out of budget. When you're marketing things, right, a lot of people just blanket market. What I mean by blanket market, they just send something out in hopes that it catches to the right person. No, sometimes you got to be very strategic in your marketing. If you know your main clientele is economy vehicles, there's no point of promoting a Urus on a consistent basis to that clientele, because 8 times out of 10 they're not going to be able to afford it when you're marketing. So therefore you're missing your target, right? And it's a song, I think it's Jay-Z, says there's nothing wrong with your aim, you just got to change your target, right? For me, you can't be marketing something to a clientele where it's not going to make sense. It's going to be out of their price range. It's going to be out of their budget, right? So these are another quick things that I think about when it comes to marketing and when it comes to sales, right? Selling to the right person at the wrong time is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But what's wrong is the opposite of that. It's selling something to the wrong person at the right time. It don't make no sense, right? So if you stay consistent in your business pitch, stay consistent in your sales, stay consistent in your marketing, eventually that client will eventually get to where they want to be, and then they'll rent from you. I've had clientele, who couldn't afford a luxury vehicle up until once a year. So I was marketing to a client, every month until that right month. It didn't cost me a lot because their customer acquisition cost was so low that I was able to, poach that client for 11 months straight, and then they got to their birthday and they could afford it, right? Or they was going on vacation. They say, look, when I go to Miami, I want this type of vehicle, and I don't want nothing else. I'm not going to rent all the way up until then. I'm going to save my money. I rent to kids, right, for proms. So all year they're ready to get to prom, and then when it's prom season, they're ready to spend that money, or their parents are ready to spend that money on that type of vehicle. It could be a limousine, it could be a Rolls Royce, it could be a Benz, it could be a Sprinter, it could be an Escalade, right? I'm pitching to these clients over and over and over again all throughout the year for them to rent one time. Now guess what? That was junior prom, and they have senior prom, and after that, their little brother or little sister is getting ready to go on prom, or they're getting ready to go on graduation. There's so many different ways that you can market to a client and get them to rent multiple types of vehicles over a long period of time. I've had clients who eventually turned over from renting a car on a consistent basis all the way to owning the vehicle, building their personal credit or building their business credit, and then getting them to purchase a vehicle and put it in our fleet, right? There's so many different types of levels that you can rent and have partnerships with the client over and over again until eventually they become a partner. Because listen, right, they may rent from you in Philadelphia, but they live in Miami. They may say, look, I want to get into the rental car business in Miami because I travel to Philadelphia with you a lot. I see that you understand the business. I know that you can help me get into this type of business, and I have some flexibility as far as cash or vehicles that I have, and I want to turn over and start renting my own vehicles in my city where I live, just like when I travel with you. So now you went from a client base on a consistent basis to a client and a broker with this type of person, right? So when you're marketing and selling your vehicles or your short-term rental assets, there's so many different ways that you can do this. It's not one way, it's multiple ways, right? Look at it like a cup. When you have a cup, you can put juice in it, you can put soda in it, you can put water in it, you can put change in it, you can put flowers in it. All of these are different things that you can use that one cup for. So don't look at your client as they're just a renter over and over again. Transition them into doing marketing and sales for your business, because your best clientele is a clientele who can talk about your business and help you grow when you're not there. Stay tuned for the next chapter. This is multi-platforms listing, an event that you are doing short-term rentals privately and you're renting your vehicles on other platforms such as Turo or Hire Car, all those different types of platforms. You have the ability to rent your vehicles on those platforms. But now, pay attention to this because it's very competitive on those platforms. If you got a 2022 vehicle and they have a 2022 year vehicle, and your vehicle is $150 a day and their vehicle is $130 a day, who do you think the client is going to go with, right? If your vehicle is $130 and they find a vehicle for $100 a day, who do you think they're going to go with? Right? So these are different things you got to look at when you're renting on these other platforms. You got to be very descriptive and make sure that the customer understands everything that's right and wrong with your vehicle or what's right and wrong with the other vehicle, because that's going to be the determining factor if they rent with you versus rent with the other person. I get clientele all the time who come to me even though my pricing is higher than somebody else on Turo because of how descriptive I am with that vehicle, how detailed. The vehicle may have 22s versus 21s. My vehicle may have the digital screen and LED lights, right? So if that vehicle is the same year, same body style, what are you going to add to that vehicle that's going to make your vehicle stand out, so therefore they pay that normal rate? That's something that's putting stars in your roof is something that's good. Having chargers inside of the vehicle, giving them a t-shirt when they rent your vehicle, giving them a special shout out on social media, make them rent your vehicle, right? So when you're listing your vehicle on other platforms at the same time that may have a lot of the same vehicles, you have to stand out. And it's not just all about pricing, it's about other incentives that you give when they rent your vehicle. Now, if you're renting your vehicle on a private website, it may be yours, it may be your partner's, it may be another app that you have developed like we have, which is our VIP There Now app. You have the ability to price your vehicle at whatever you would like to, right? And that's another form of multi-platform listing. So stay tuned for more information. Like I said in the previous chapter, if you really want to learn one-on-one from a coach like me, this is the opportunity for you. So get through the other chapters. We got a couple more to go. The end of it is 13. Stay tuned for more chapters. Bernard Buie. But I'm going to give y'all a bonus to that is maintenance, pricing, and logistics. In the event that your vehicle need to be maintenance, where do you go? Who do you build partnerships with to keep your vehicles up to date? Because it's very important to keep your vehicle's maintenance. In the event that a tire gets flat, where are you going? How are you getting there? In the event that it needs an oil change, right? In the event that the AC go out, the heat don't work, you need to build partnerships with different mechanics and different body shops. In the event that a vehicle gets a quick fender bender, who's going to help you get this vehicle up and back on the road? So that's a quick maintenance tip. Pricing.
how are you pricing your vehicles? What are your competitors charging, right? In the event that you got clientele who rents on another platform, hypothetically like Turo, how are you going to price your vehicle so therefore your vehicle gets booked on a consistent basis just like there? But if you got clientele who can't rent on these other short-term rental platforms, of course you can charge a premium because they can't go to a normal enterprise. They can't go on Turo to where there's a lot of the same vehicles that you have on there at a competitive rate. So therefore you have the advantage to upcharge on a vehicle, right? So that's another quick tip on pricing, right? Another thing when it comes to pricing is changing your rates from weekdays to weekends, from holidays to non-holidays, special events to non-special events. Every week or every month, there's a new holiday that's popping up, right? There's a new event from Super Bowl to All-Star Weekend to Labor Day to Memorial Day to St. Patrick's, right? There's all different types of ways to upsell your vehicles as far as pricing based off of these holidays or these special events all throughout the world, all throughout the year, right? So that's a couple things that you can think about when it comes to pricing. The other thing is logistics, right? In the event that your vehicle is an electric vehicle, right? And somebody rent out your vehicle and they just decide they run out of gas. I mean, they run out of electricity for the vehicle and there's no miles left and they just leave your vehicle on the road. A normal tow truck can't just pick up a Tesla or a BMW electric vehicle and just haul it back off to another. You have to work with a special type of tow truck company that can pick up electric vehicles, right? In the event that your vehicle is an all-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive, that matters to them. If it's a luxury vehicle, where's the brake pads? Can the vehicle go in neutral in the event that the battery dies and it needs to be towed? In the event that somebody gets into an accident, who are you going to work with in order to pick up your vehicle, right? Another thing, if your vehicle gets impounded, what proper documentation do your client need, or do your brokers need, or do you need in order to get that vehicle out of impound, right? These are some of the small things and logistics that you have to work through. In the event that another great thing when it comes to logistics is partnerships, right? Your vehicle may have gotten rented in Atlanta and your vehicle ends up in Florida. You may need a partner out there to make sure that your vehicle is safe, right? In the event that somebody rents your vehicle in another state, you're just a broker and they rent your vehicle from an owner in another country. How are you working with them as far as different time zones to make sure that the vehicle is back on time? The vehicle was paid for on time. Your client got their deposit back on time, right? Because it's not all about the owners. Sometimes it's about your clientele too, because that's who's going to keep spending the money and coming back with you and spending money in different cities or different states or different countries with you for years and years to come. So when you build those types of relationships, that's what it's about in logistics. And if you're interested in learning more in a one-on-one setting, I can teach you that also. Stay tuned for the next chapter. All right, guys, we're back at it. This is chapter 11, scaling your business. In chapter 10, you learn about multi-platforms listening, but in this chapter, you're going to learn about scaling the business. A lot of people get into this business and they start off with one vehicle. Sometimes you get lucky and start off with 2 or 3 vehicles because this is the opportunity for you to scale your business, right? So how do you scale the business? There's so many different ways. If you're already an owner, right, and you want to own more vehicles, you may want to get into different types of vehicles. You may start off in economy cars, and now you want to get into your mid-size $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 dollar cars. Or if you're already in that tier, you want to get into your $60,000 to $80,000 cars. Or you're already at 80, and you want to get into your $100,000, your $200,000 and $300,000 vehicles. This is how you scale the business. For one, if you're an owner, make sure that these vehicles are being paid on time. You're building your personal credit if you purchase them using your personal credit, and learning how to transfer them from your personal credit to your business credit. Or if you already got these vehicles in your business credit, learning how to make sure that these vehicles have consistent payments on time and you're paying your notes on time. This is one thing that they look at as far as consistency when it comes to leveraging your business credit in order to go get another vehicle. right? So why is this most important? Because it's transaction history. They want to know that, for one, you can afford to pay your notes and that the business is lucrative for you, because if it's lucrative to you, then it's going to be lucrative to your financing company. Right, so that's most important when it comes to that. Of course, there's different types of business trade lines that you can add to your business. That's your NAV account. In the event that you may be at tier 2 or tier 3 accounts and you already got a paid off vehicle, now it's time to go get a higher paid vehicle on your business credit to leverage that, because it's most important on how to scale your business. So that's one way. Another way to scale your business is working with other partners who's already inside this business. So yeah, you may want to go up and purchase vehicles, but you may not necessarily need to go and purchase a vehicle. You can go and find a partner and say, listen, I know you already see me in this business. I know you want to get into this business, or you're already in this business. Let's partner up and bring our fleet together. So therefore, if I have the economy vehicles and you have the black trucks, now we both can say I have the black trucks and you can say that you have the economy vehicles, and now we have two different types of clientele. That's another way of scaling, right? A third way of scaling is saying that, okay, I'm looking to partner with someone who I don't know, who already has vehicles, and I'm going to take over their notes for those vehicles. That may be an owner who's in distress and they can't afford that note. This is the opportunity for you to go and work with them who are out here, who are going through hardship or want to get out of the business, or have multiple vehicles, and they decide they just can't afford a note, or they don't want to pay the note anymore. You can say, look, how much is your note? Your note is $800 a month. Okay, I'm going to give you $900 a month. I'm going to take over your note for your vehicle, and when it's paid off, you'll have a paid off vehicle, and then you can give me the title for the vehicle, and I'll keep it for paying off the rest of the note. That's another way to get in this business. There's websites like Swap a Lease, to where somebody already has a lease and that vehicle is up for a lease in 2 to 3 months. You can take over that lease for the vehicle and start renting it out for production, photo shoots, video shoots, movies, or even hourly rates or daily rates for owners who's looking to rent other vehicles when they're in different states or different countries, right? These are multiple ways of scaling the business without having to necessarily go and put out $40,000, $50,000, or even $20,000 or even $2,000 for a new vehicle. You don't have to do that. These are free ways for you to scale your business without putting out more cash. So stay tuned for more opportunities in getting into scaling the business. Like I said in the previous chapter, if you are interested in turning this up and you want to really get the nitty gritty down to the science of how you can do these things, and I'll teach you these things, I'll teach you these things, I'll teach you these things, I'll teach you these things in my one-on-one mentorship. So if you're interested in learning that, getting into that business, learning how to scale the business from other different types of ways, because not only, here's a bigger thing, not only can you scale the business from owning and brokering these different things, but you can scale the business by partnering with someone else who has nothing to do with vehicles, right? You can look at somebody who has properties. You can say, listen, every time somebody rents your home, offer them this vehicle as an upsell, to where we'll give them a discount on the vehicle, because 9 times out of 10, if they're traveling from out of town, they need a vehicle, because they're going to go to Enterprise, they're going to go on Turo, but now they know a vehicle comes with the home or the apartment that they're renting from somebody else. Now that's an upsell for them, and it's a way for you to make money. So I give you all different types of game when it comes to learning this business. It's not just about renting vehicles, it's about partnering with other people in different areas that make sense when it comes to time to rent a vehicle. So stay tuned for the next chapter. Like I said, if you're interested in learning how to get into this on a one-on-one scale, I have that opportunity for you as well. All right, guys, we're back at it. This is chapter 12, which is brokering, which is my favorite chapter of all of the chapters. In chapter 11, you learn a lot about scaling the business, but in this chapter, you're going to learn about brokering the business. And when you decide to become a broker, it can be very lucrative, it can be very time consuming, but it can be very rewarding for you at the same time. One, because you don't have to own something in order to make money from it, but what you do have to have is have the ability to please people. You have to have the ability to negotiate, upsell, downsell, side sell, left sell, right sell, all of these different types of ways of negotiating and building relationships, because brokering is all about relationships. How many customers do you have? How many owners do you have? Who's calling you because they're thinking about something that somebody else needs, and they know that you have the ability to get it to them or get it for them right in that nick of time, because that's what it's about. The moment somebody picks up a phone and they decide to call you, they're going to ask you, hey, I know somebody that needs this right now. Can you get it to them? Okay. You got, 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes, sometimes even a day or two to get it for them, because they're depending on you to make it happen for them or for a customer that they may have, right? So one of the things that was most important for me when I decided to get into brokering was my relationships, cultivating, nurturing, and being who you say you are, and standing on those types of things in business, so therefore people believe in you and people give you the opportunity, right? When I first rented my first Rolls Royce truck, I didn't own it. I still don't own one, right? But I knew somebody that owned one. I was able to build a relationship with them, and I went off of their terms and conditions. I said, listen, I'm Bernard Buie. I rent out luxury vehicles. I have a client who would like to rent your Rolls Royce Cullinan. How much do you want for it per day? How much do you want for insurance? How many miles can they drive in a day? Does it have a tracker? Does it have a kill switch, right? What documents do you require in order for me to rent out this vehicle to a client? So I built those types of things with them. Everything that they said they demanded, I made sure it was there, right? Even if the price was a little high for me, it was a little steep, I decided just to go with it because I knew I could still upsell it. Yeah, I might not have made, the same amount of money they made or even close to it, but I was building a relationship and I was willing to go through with that opportunity with them in order to build that relationship. So if the car cost me $2,500 a day and I was only able to rent it for $2,600 a day, eventually I knew I could get it down from 25 to maybe 2,000, or eventually I was going to be able to make from 26 all the way up to 3,000 based off of the relationship, right? So these were types of things that I built based off of the negotiation skills that I had with that owner. Now, once I did that and I showed the owner that I could bring reliable customers to them and they could trust me, picking up their vehicle from them, dropping it off, right? Making sure that the vehicle was clean, making sure that the vehicle came back the same way that they gave it to me, that was able to build another tier of relationship with them, right? And then I started renting out other things to that owner because they had clientele. If that was their only vehicle, now listen, when your Cullinan is out and you got somebody else that need a vehicle, now you call me and say, hey, Buie, I need another vehicle. What vehicles do you have access to? So now I went from just doing business with them on their side as far as controlling their Cullinan to them bringing business to me. So now we're swapping businesses, right? So that was the opportunity for me to grow within that relationship to where I wasn't just paying them. Now we were paying each other. It became a system with us because they built that relationship with me and I built that relationship with them, right? And you can do this all over the world. When I got into brokering, I would just travel to different cities and different countries and build relationships, whether that mean me personally renting a vehicle and then saying, listen, I have the opportunity to put your vehicles on different platforms and open it up to my network because I got people that's going to travel there. Another great example is when I went to Dubai, I rented a Lamborghini. I didn't need that car there because I was already on a great hotel to where I didn't need a vehicle. But I said, if I want to build relationships with these people out here, I got to spend money with them, so therefore they know I'm serious. So I rented that Lamborghini from them, and then I told them, look, I got clientele who's going to come over here more frequently. I want to broker your vehicles. They gave me a list of all their vehicles, the different rules, regulations, and requirements, and they said, go at it. And then I started advertising and showing my clientele and advertising to random people that, listen, if you're trying to get a vehicle in Dubai and you don't know nobody in Dubai until you get there, come to me first. I'll set it up. This is chapter 13, exiting your vehicle. A lot of people get into this business thinking that they're just going to keep that car forever. They're going to eventually pay off the note and own it, get your title free and clear. But in this business, a lot of times vehicles get crashed. So in the event that your vehicle gets crashed or stolen, what do? Right? So I'm going to talk to you about if your vehicle get crashed. In the event that your vehicle get crashed, you need to have the proper documents and the proper insurance. So the first thing you need to do is have commercial policy for your vehicle. When you have a commercial policy for your vehicle, they understand that you're renting your vehicle out in short-term rentals to other people, right? So in the event that you don't have that and you have personal insurance and your car gets crashed or stolen, the insurance is going to look at you like, well, why is this person renting your vehicle? You were making money from it. They're going to look at the policy and say, this policy is not equipped for that, so therefore we're going to deny the claim. But if you have rental car insurance for your vehicle, you can rent it out to whoever you want. Anybody can drive that vehicle, right? And that's how you protect yourself in that. So look up different types of commercial policies, insurance for your vehicle. One company that I'm very familiar with is Lula, L-U-L-A. They allow you to rent your vehicles under their policy because that's what it's for, right? So, bang. So now that you got your proper insurance for the vehicle, now it's time to have the proper documentation when somebody renting your vehicle, so therefore you can give to your insurance company and they can tell you, okay, this is what you needed, this is what we needed in order to cover the vehicle, get it fixed or get it totaled out, right? You gotta have a commercial document for your vehicle, and that document has license number, insurance number, how many days they rented the vehicle for, was there any damages, miles, their signature, all of these things in one. Have your policies and terms for renting your vehicle. If in the event that they rent your vehicle but they let somebody else drive it, that person is responsible, right? In the event that the vehicle is in another state and you're trying to deal with that state versus the state that you rented the vehicle in, you have to deal with those things. Another thing may be, another thing may be in the event that the vehicle is in different weather conditions and they totaled it because the weather. Was that their fault? Was it your vehicle fault, right? Having all of these things on one document lets them know. Smoking in your vehicle, cleaning the vehicle, putting gas in your vehicle, all these things goes into your documents when you're renting out that vehicle, right? So that goes into the vehicle in the event that it was stolen or was crashed. You need all of these things, right? Another thing in exiting the vehicle is if somebody wants to buy the vehicle. Somebody may want to decide, they want to buy the vehicle from you. How do you properly do that? So therefore, you have the opportunity to make money from the vehicle, plus get out the vehicle in the right way. All right. You've completed 13 great chapters in the short-term car rental mastery. Listen, you got all the tools, tips, and tricks that I can offer you. I'm giving you exclusive links to documents. I'm giving you exclusive photos for you to reference to when you're going and you're navigating throughout this business for the hard times and the best times. And I want to be a part of both because that's what the business is about. So now that you've officially completed this, it's time to get to work. And if you're at the starting point from the LLC or the EIN or the business bank account, or you're in the middle of the business to where you're marketing and you're expanding your fleet, or you're at the end of the business to where you're learning how to get out of this business, whether it be a car, a crash car, or a sold car, you're just at the end, right? There's so many different opportunities for you to jump in or jump out in this business, and that's why you got the ability to complete this course. So I'm here, Bernard Buie. Exclusive rights to this content you officially have for the rest of your life. So please share it and pass it on to someone who needs it, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. So if you're interested in learning about our exclusive one-on-one opportunity for us to help you take your business to a whole nother level, definitely tap in with me. If you want to join our private social media groups, definitely tap in with me. Or you just want to be fly like me and driving these nice cars as we always do every day, I'm all for that too. Stay tuned for more content and the other short-term rental opportunities that we're going to have. I'm Bernard Buie.